Hey everybody, I'm back today again with another deck. Today we're going to be looking at Adda. I had some requests to showcase her a little bit, and I did on stream make this deck a few days ago, and I figured now was a good time to actually, show it to the YouTube folks. And is it a good deck? Well, first off, I just want to say it's not the best deck ever. Northern Realms right now is in a bit of a weak spot, so most Northern Realms deck are not going to break tier 1 ever. They might be, tier 2 or below. This one, I haven't played that much with it, so I can't say exactly how good it is, but it's able to win some games, as we'll see later on maybe. It will probably lose some other games, as we will maybe see later on as well. But yeah, there's the disclaimer. Not the best deck ever, but I think this is a reasonable shot at Adda if you want to give that leader a go. And honestly, the Hugebert value you can get with this deck, I mean, the title of the deck should really be letting you guys know how great that's going to be, right? So this is all about, getting a big Hugebert in round 3. The main weakness of the deck is probably going to be the consistency in actually finding Hugebert. We are running quite a few thinning tools, but, occasionally you're going to not find him. You're not going to get him in that round 3, and it's going to feel pretty bad. But the deck can survive even without him sometimes. I've had games which have been won by a huge amount because of Hugebert, which would have been wins without him. I've had games where I haven't drawn him and still been able to win. So that's kind of the main weakness of the deck, aside from maybe being bled by the opponent and then getting your Adda Hugebert combo earlier in the game than you'd want to play it. But the strength is, of course, you have a really massive finisher. If you're able to have last say, then it becomes almost impossible for the opponent to actually overcome you and deal with that large Hugebert. So pretty much we're playing a lot of engines with the bronzes, and that's going to bait out a lot of removal or just get a good amount of points in the early rounds and even later on if the opponent, doesn't answer them. If they do answer them, then you're able to save your kind of more valuable engines in the Synthesis, the Okvist, Selkirk, all this stuff. You're able to save those guys for later. So it's kind of a win-win. If they remove your engines, you lose out earlier in the game, but you win out later in the game. And you have extra synergy with Hugebert with stuff like Synthesis, Okvist, which can damage on the same turn that you play Hugebert alongside Adda. And you can get some really nutty amounts of points from that. So what else? We have, of course, the Thinning and Witches Roach. We have, as I said, a lot of engines in the Bronze Core. Arbalist is working well with Orders units, and we have Revenant to be Orders for that. We have Cavalry as well, synergizing with the Orders effects, and of course, a lot of the gold cards have Orders as well. We also have the Drummer to give Zeal to Revenants or other units, potentially Vess as well, and yeah, we're just throwing in a ton of units that the opponent will want to remove. Eventually they'll run out of removal, and things like Synthesis, Okvist will stick around to deal big damage in round 3. We also have Avalak to give immunity there. Botchling is a really good one, can tank damage, and a nice engine all around. And we've got Sabrina, which is synergizing really nicely with Revenants, bit of a row, damage effect, pretty damn powerful with Revenants, and can be triggered with things like Synthesis, Okvist as well. You don't necessarily need a Revenant alive. So yeah, pretty much the idea is to use the engines to get to round 3, and then play some engines without using their order effects immediately, save the orders for the turn you play Hugebert, and just completely destroy their board, play a massive point slam with the Hugebert, and feel very good about life. So yeah, that's the idea of the deck. It's a pretty fun one. Plays a little bit differently to a lot of stuff, and I figured it was time to give Adda her time to shine in a YouTube video. So let's jump right into a game or two and see how the deck plays. Okay, everybody, Brewer time. We'll see if we can get around the Shiru. I think there was a clip of me getting wrecked by Shiru playing this deck, actually, so let's hope that doesn't happen again. Anyhow, Trident Infantry probably can be kicked. We already have another one of those in hand. And then we'll see Witcher, of course, can then get rid of that. Very nice. Rest of the hand is looking solid at the moment. Of course, we want to find Hugebert. That's kind of the goal. A lot of the time is just play your thinning, get Hugebert as fast as possible. And I know, guys, I'm not even running Horn in this deck, so a little bit of a weird one, but have been enjoying it a lot. So Dwarven Mercenary, kind of annoying to deal with. We could definitely vest that if we just want to threaten the kill on it next turn with, either Synthesis or Kyrenex. But I kind of actually prefer the Botchling play. Just get that engine rolling. It will, enable him to use Roach if he wants, as a target for his Dwarven Mercenary, but I think that's okay. We'll just let this guy start proccing. He will eat damage up if the opponent has to damage it, and that, you know, can of course be neutralized by clicking his order effect. And then probably we'll play, yeah, the Tridem Kedweni synergy this turn, along with who knows what else. Gonna play Cleaver there for some nice damage, and removing the botching feels pretty bad. But what can we go with now? We could go with the Vest if we want to, yeah, again, threaten the Mercenary. I don't mind it. And again, we might just be getting removal from the opponent, which is really nice. Additionally, you know, we don't want to play out front row because of the skirmisher he might have, of course. So back row is going to be where most of our units go here against Dwarven things. Not going to be elves, so maybe no Shiru, but you can always run that in Bruver, even if you're not running an elf package, so don't rule that one out just yet. We're not too far behind. And the great thing about these Zeal units is if they get removed, it's kind of like protecting your engine, right? The engine itself is not getting removed, and instead the Zeal giver is. So, definitely doesn't feel too bad. A Call of the Forest for Sheldon. Okay, that's pretty neat. Is kind of wasted on the Vest though, as we see here. I mean, looks kind of good, right guys? We're getting some of his removal onto that. And a Bruver charge being played as well. I'm a little bit curious as to why the opponent's going for that, but we can go ahead and play the Witches now. They might be wanting to pass, so we'll just say, okay buddy, I've got Witches, I can catch up. Go ahead and pass if you want, but I'm ready to get the points. And okay, gonna be playing Volunteers, that's not a problem. So I think definitely here we can go Tridem if we are able to catch up. And it looks like... can we get it? 7 points plus 3, we can just about. So let's do that. Seems really good. And if we can play both the Sergeants this round, that'd be really ideal. Because they're not the best cards later, you know, we don't have much synergy with them apart from Tridem. They're just going to be 5-point cards or whatever. It looks like he's going to use Bruver charges to deal with this, which is pretty crazy actually. Alright, Skirmisher does come down. We're nicely playing around that, of course, so it can only get 1 little point of value there, so that feels pretty good. Now, we can definitely go with Revenant here, or alternatively just the Drummer. The Drummer will basically proc the Revenant, give us how many points? 7 plus 4, so it won't be quite enough. Oh, it does also give the boost. So, yeah, this seems good. We can play this. It can either protect the Revenant if he destroys it, or if it lives on, the Revenant will get its immediate value on the Skirmisher. So, kind of a win-win. If he does have removal for this, we'll just have to deal with that, I suppose. But okay, looks like the Revenant is going to survive, and I think we want to throw it onto front row, just so we can reach the back if we need to do that. And yeah, we'll get that immediate value on his Skirmisher. Very cool. Of course, Kyrenex can open up another Kedweni Revenant, being able to spawn, so that's pretty cool as well. And we've got Kedweni Sergeants just to, you know, make some random plays if we need to here. So Synthesis we could also go with, but I like saving this for the Hugebert combo later if we are able to. So let's do the maths. If we play a Kyrenex now, it's 8 plus a further 4, so we get 12 points effectively. 12 plus 5, is that going to be enough? It definitely is. So we can go ahead and play that Sergeant right now. We're going to boost the Revenant up a couple of times. And we're not going to use this ability yet. We'll use that to overcome the opponent if they do take a pass now, which they're probably feeling like doing. Effectively, if they play a card here, we're trading the Kedweni Sergeant for that card, so yeah, most likely these are pretty good ones that the opponent's going to have to play now. And yeah, I mean, that is a Geralt Jurden plus a Bruver charge being used. Okay. Not too bad a feeling, I must say, guys. So now I think we don't really have an easy way to overcome here unless we use the Synthesis. That being said, I mean, maybe we're okay to do that and just play it. The opponent's got no Bruver charges, so you got to imagine if we go to round 3 with Adda and equal cards and last say, we should be okay. So I think we're fine to place a Synthesis here. We could save it normally, but since the opponent really seems to want to win this round, I'm a little bit worried about what they might have in terms of finisher value or, you know, bleed potential. So we'll just keep playing the round out. and get ourselves the win in this round. So of course we're going to hit this twice, enable the Revenant to proc, and that will mean we can get the round win with a Kedwenny. Or not, never mind, we can't do that. That is a bit of a shame actually. We're going to have to use Kyrenex instead. Of course Kedwenny only 5 points wouldn't get us ahead enough. So we do use quite a few good plays there to actually win the round, but so did the opponent. And we still have our leader ability, whereas the opponent does not. We're going to neutralize any sort of carryover shenanigans that he might be doing with the dwarves. Things like what the fuck's that guy called? I can't even remember what his name is. God damn it. It's Gabor. That's the one. Gabor thingy-mabobby. Alright, let's mulligan the Sergeant here. It's not going to do too much. And we'll take a pass. And as you see here, yeah, we might not be drawing the Hugebert. It's kind of just up to, you know, hope in the mulligans and the draws that you do get it. Doesn't always work out. But I think we should probably be okay even without him in this game. Just because we've got our whole leader above him, you know. We'll basically have an extra 8 points on what he will have, and that can be utilised as removal if we need it. But we'll see what we get here. It might not even be too bad of a hand. The Arbalists are definitely good. And I don't think we want the Cavalry if we're playing Arbalists. Those are making up our kind of engine plays. So yeah, we'd rather get rid of that, I think. Gonna be an Avalak, which is nice for Selkirk, but no Hugebert, unfortunately. That happens sometimes. It's pretty damn likely you get him because of the amount of thinning we're running. In conjunction with, yeah, just of course, a lot of mulligans now. And then, yeah, the card draw you naturally gain throughout a game, but whatever. We're going to go back row with these guys again to play around Skirmisher. Hopefully he's kind of out of removal at this point, and we can get a lot of value from our engines. That's the idea anyway. That's going to be a Dwarven Mercenary. Now I kind of want to kill this. I don't even necessarily mind using Adda on it, but that might also not be a good idea. I think just going with this is probably okay as well. So if we wanted to maximize points, we'd probably just go with the Arbalist. I think we do that. We can then, you know, potentially kill the Mercenary with the Arbalist next turn. That should be okay. And even Avalak is an order unit. It's pretty cool. There's some nice synergy here. These guys actually do represent a lot of points if they aren't removed. You can maybe kill one or two. Yeah, Zoltan's gonna remove one here. Kind of expecting that, but that's alright. So, what are we gonna go with? We could just Avalak now, I kinda like it. I think it's okay. We'll just take the value on the good old, what's it called? Selkirk. We'll just make sure he's, you know, immune and ready to go. It will mean we can't boost him with Sergeant, which is maybe a bit of a downside, but I think it's okay. Yeah, I think this is fine. Actually, I mean, it might even be better not to make him immune. I'm not sure. If we don't make him immune, he can take damage, but we can also boost him, and then we can give immunity to the Revenant. Nah, I think we should make him immune. It's probably just the safest line of play. Guarantees the most points, and if we're guaranteeing our points here, we shouldn't really be losing because of Adda, because of Sabrina, and whatnot. If Revenant is able to go off, we're going to be looking really, really good here. And probably we'll just play Sergeant without using its buffs, because we can then play Revenant and buff it up and hopefully protect it that way. Maybe, you know, eat the Dwarven Mercenary charges that he has. And now, of course, Adda being used onto Mahakam Defender looks good, so we're just not going to mess with anything here for the moment. We can save our Orders effect, and, you know, of course this would be even better if we had Hugebert in hand, because we could Selkirk and then Hugebert for extra value, but we don't have him, so gonna have to go without it for now. But okay, looks like everything's shaping up just about as expected. We can go for the Revenant now. We gotta hope this will survive. We'll give it a couple of boosts to ensure that that's more likely. Now it won't die to a Skirmisher, which is cool. We'll pass here and just make sure, you know, that we're not missing any value. We might need Selkirk to kill Sabrina, for example, if Revenant dies. which is possible, depending on, you know, the last card that he has. But we've got a lot of kind of hidden points here, if you want to call them that, with the Adda, with the Selkirk. Sabrina, if we have to use Selkirk to kill it, is going to be a bit lame, but that might just be the way of the world, unfortunately. We'll see how it goes. Probably shouldn't have played into the front row, I guess, with Avalak. That might have been a mistake. But at the same time, since we wanted to put Revenant there, might have baited out the Skirmisher where he otherwise wouldn't have used it. So we'll see what the last card is from the opponent. It's actually possible that he wins if he can kill the Revenant, I think. And we might be lacking points a little bit. Something like a Chironex would be really good for him. But we'll see what it's gonna be. And it's a Barclay. That's pretty big. Represents a lot of points, but we should be okay here, I think, with the amount of order value we're getting in addition to Adda. And he didn't even use the couple of charges on that guy, unfortunately for him. So we'll go ahead, smack that. Very good stuff. Bada bing, bada boom. Hit this with Adda. And wait, are we actually not winning? Oh my goodness. That's kind of surprising, but okay. Yeah, I mean, wow, I'm actually amazed. I thought we would have enough there, but apparently not. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Sometimes, turns out dwarves can be pretty strong. Barclay with a lot of points there. Let's see if in the second game we can maybe win. Maybe we can find Hugebert, and that will work out quite well. Let's see. Okay, second game against Foltest. Hopefully it goes a little bit better than the last one. I think having no Hugebert there really did hurt, actually. And a little bit surprising the amount of points the opponent was able to put out. But either way, Roach can get out here. And I think Tridem as well. If we draw a Witcher, that would be a shame. But we do have Hugebert in hand from the get-go, so that's nice. Got some engines this round. The cavalry will, you know, be quite nice to push, hopefully, with. And we're going to want to play in front row against Foltest because they might be running Trebuchets. So that's going to be the plan there. That is a rather large Arbalist, and I mean, we could even consider playing Adda and then Hugebert to kill it. I don't think it's worth it here. And usually not really going to be a good idea to sacrifice your leader to do that. We'll just go with the cavalry. This is going to get him some nice value, but whatever. Hopefully our engines will get us value as well, and we'll end up being okay. Got a lot of good combo pieces ready to go. Avalak as well on Synthesis later on could be really, really nice. But this is looking kind of scary. I don't really know how we're able to counteract the value on the Arbalist. I mean, I'm actually considering going with that Hugebert play at the very beginning, guys. It's probably just not a good idea. I think we're maybe going to be resigned to losing this round, but just getting rid of our kind of least valuable cards. And hopefully getting some good value stuff from the opponent. But we'll see how it goes. Revenant as well is going to be, yeah, very, very difficult to deal with. Honestly, we might just want to save our big power stuff for round 2. You know, things like our Witches and whatnot. If we can use them later, it might actually be better. So I think here we just go with the Trident. Gonna, you know, play out some really crappy cards, make him feel bad about playing stuff into this round. Of course, he'll mostly play bronzes now, probably, but you know, it's probably still okay. So as long as we can get ahead after he passes here, then we're definitely okay to play. So how many is Arbalist? That'll be worth 4. And then we can play Witches for 12. 4 plus 12, 16. We then need 8 points. Easy peasy with Unicorns. So we can do that. If we get a pass from the opponent, it's actually kind of good for us because we'll be able to go straight to round 3. Have our Hugebert synergy online. And of course, yeah, get that win would be very cool. But it looks like the opponent's going to have all their Foltest charges up, which is going to be a pain to deal with. Going to be able to remove a lot of our engines later on. But I think now we probably need to get out this round and hope that round 3 goes a little bit more in our favour, or round 2 even as well. We do have Hugebert, so I'm not concerned about thinning too much, you know, in round 1. In this instance, normally we'd want to play the Witches, but here we can save it for a tempo play. Yes, at the risk of bricking mulligans potentially, but looks like we're safe. And I think we want to keep this hand. Pretty good hand overall. course, can play the Revenant if the opponent passes. If they don't, we can maybe play Witches to get ahead.
I killed for less.
We'll see how it goes. I think I do like the Witcher play. It will thin the deck a lot. Maybe we want to keep Roach in there for the, you know, the, what's it called? Potential points in the future round. The thing is, yeah, I mean, realistically, we want to keep as many engines as possible to overload him on engines, and if we play Revenant, it won't be enough to get us ahead, so he could just take a pass. So I think playing Witches is effectively the same as playing Revenant. We would play the Revenant and then the Witches after anyway. This way we just get an extra mulligan effectively if the opponent passes, which they do. And we've now got some freedom to mulligan as we please, so Trident will probably go. We can maybe keep the Revenants. They're quite a threatening engine. If they don't get removed, then we're getting a lot of value from them. So maybe getting rid of one is also okay. And then this guy after that. And alright, that looks pretty nice. So we could definitely just start with Avalak if we want. That will force him into playing some kind of removal like Selkirk or whatever. Let's do that. And then we can go with Drummer Boy or Botchling, whatever we want to get online first. Maybe Botchling for the engine value. And pretty much here we're going to rely on the Hugebert to actually, you know, get us the points, I think. Because we're going to fall a bit behind with the full test ability and, you know, really good engines. He's effectively playing engines but getting the value immediately on those, rather than having to wait a turn, as you normally would. But okay, we'll play the Botchling now. And we can use him to buff up the Drummer, maybe make him harder to kill.
At last.
We are going to see Avalak here, which is very scary considering we can't actually deal with it right now. So what are we going to do? I mean, we might just Adda it. That feels kind of terrible to do, and I'm not sure it will actually win us the game, but at the same time, if we don't, we might just be losing. Also, our Hugebert, maybe it's correct, guys. I think it might be right, because our Hugebert can get answered by the opponent probably anyway with Gaunter. So by doing this, we just don't make him too big. He'll probably get removed at some point. But at the very least, we're denying the Corvo that the opponent might have. There's the Ike. And with full test charge, he would have always been able to answer the Hugebert anyway, so realistically the extra value we could have got on him in this game wouldn't really have mattered, right? So let's do this. Botchling, buff that up. Or Lubberkin now. And we're just going to try to control, you know, the opponent's resources as much as possible, I think. Maybe Selkirk here is the play, I think. We can immediately kill the Revenant, of course.
Stand and fight, cowards!
Unfortunately, the boost not really helping in any way, but feels a bit weird killing a low strength unit with Selkirk, but at the same time, didn't really want to use Synthesis, because Selkirk is more vulnerable to getting removed, I guess. We'll see here. I think we should be at a pretty big disadvantage, just because the opponent's got the full test charge still, and presumably some engines that will work well with that. At the same time, I mean, we can definitely go with Kedwini Revenant now. In reality, it might have been correct to just play the Selkirk vanilla and hope it doesn't die, and then buff it with Unicorn and whatnot, but in reality, I'm not sure about that. So here I actually kind of want to do Sabrina, actually. I think it's pretty good. At the same time, getting Synthesis around and on the board might also be quite nice. I think this is going to be worth it. I'm going to assume that the opponent's going to be, you know, what's the word? Playing around Synthesis Ocvis to some degree. Okay, that's pretty effective for the opponent. We can definitely go with Synthesis now, or Ocvis, I guess. Depends kind of which we're more worried about being removed. Probably Ocvis works out being more value, but Synthesis will allow us to proc Revenants a bit more easier. So I think we go with the Ocvis. If it gets removed, we're a little bit less sad. It's still going to be kind of bad, but Synthesis will allow us to get more Revenant value more consistently, so let's go for that. Hopefully there's no Gaunter, that's kind of the one thing that would wreck Ocvis, or a lock of some kind. Of course we want to just make sure Corvo doesn't survive, although that might be hard to achieve by playing the Octvis there, we're going to have to wait a couple of turns, and he'll most likely have got a decent amount of value already by the time we are removing that.
I never cheat.
There is Gaunter, so we're going to get a little bit wrecked by that, unfortunately. Though this does mean, you know, we kind of anticipated this, and now Synthesis can come down and help out. So it's not necessarily the end of the world if there's no more removal, and in fact if these cards are also orders, cards maybe prize winning cow or something, could be very, very vulnerable actually to our removal here. So we're not out yet, we're not out of it. Unicorn's going to represent a pretty good play as well. And of course Trebuchet's not getting any value, so that's kind of nice. Gonna be a Sabrina, okay. Now I'm pretty sure we can just deny this from being killed. If we think about what he can have in the deck that destroys this, there's not much, right? There's basically pretty much only a Lacerate or something, or an Arachis Venom. So I think by playing Unicorn here, we can actually not even have to worry about that. And the question is, where do we play it? Well, we definitely want to kill Corvo, so let's just do that now with our Revenant. And I think, yeah, we can just use the rest of the charges on something else, and we'll play Unicorn on the same row. Buff her up, so she's not dying to really anything that I can think of. And of course, yeah, just kill Ike, I guess. Or maybe we don't kill Ike. Just shoot some random things. So, if the opponent can't remove this, we are going to be just winning, I think. And yeah, looks like we've got it. Very nice. So it turned out that we had so many engines, he couldn't really remove all of them efficiently. And we managed to beat the Foltest. Very cool. Not even relying on Hugebert there, actually. It did end up getting removed anyway. So that was a nice one. Yeah, hopefully that displayed what the deck can do. It is potentially even better than Foltest, as you may see there. Definitely the Adda is nice in a lot of situations. And the Hugebert, we didn't see any massive Huberts there, but you can get really, really big ones if you play this deck yourself. So hope this was a good watch, guys. Maybe try the deck if you feel like something a bit different, a bit spicy. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.